Hi and welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about Microsoft Excel Concatenate Function, or Concat Function, depending on which version of Excel you are using. If you find this video useful, please give it a like, hit subscribe and tap that bell. It really means a lot to the channel. And with that said, let's jump on over to Excel. Right, so in this example I have a list of first names and last names, and what I would like to do is actually produce a full name. So in order to do that, we look at the concatenate function or the concat function. The difference between these two is the concatenate is an old formula that's in previous versions of Excel, and if you're on 365, for example, then the concat is the new version of the formula. I'm going to run through both and they work exactly the same way, as you'll see in a moment, and let's begin. So what we're going to do is just open up a equal sign and start typing the concat function. Now here we'll see, if I just take away the E, both the functions exist as in my 365 account, but we want to use the older one here called concatenate. Okay, for this first example. Now once we have this open, we'll see that you can add multiple pieces of text together. So the first part is text 1. So text 1 in our case will be the first name. Now we hit comma, we open up text 2. Now what we want is actually to have a space between the first name and the last name. If we didn't want a space, we can just go ahead and do that and actually include the last name as text 2. If I close that off, you'll notice how this comes through like this, right? So it's pulled together and merged the first name in A2 with the last name of B2 together here, all in one cell. Now what we want to do is actually edit this formula to have a space in between. And to do that, what we want to do is actually just click in to the function just after the first comma there, and actually open up a double quotation, hit space, and then close a quotation, and then hit comma. So now we've actually included three parts to the text, right? So part 1 is the first name. Text 2 is in between the two commas, double quotations with a space, and then text 3, which is the last name. If I press return on that, we can now see that I have a space between my first name and my last name. I can go ahead and copy that down, and it works all the way through my list of names. Now the concat function works in the same way, so we open that up. This time we type concat, double click on concat, and now we can see we can start with text 1. So we're going to jump over to here, click on our first piece of text, hit comma, open up quotation, space, quotation, comma for the third piece of text, which would be our last name, and close that off with a parentheses and press return. Now you can see here that these two functions that work exactly the same way, they look exactly the same, the main difference being that this one is obviously shorter than this one in terms of function name. We copy that down, and there we go, we now have all of those names together. The other thing to bear in mind is obviously in these examples I have used cell references with text in them, but you don't have to. You could, if you wanted to, actually include a surname specifically within quotations, or just write out the text that you want within the formula, right? So an example of that might be if I just come over here and type away concat, open up a bracket, right? Text 1 might be our first name like this, right? Or this particular one here. Hit comma, open up quotation mark, and then we can type something. So we can go space, this is a test, and then close those quotations and close the bracket, press enter. Now we have the full name that we already used the concat function for. Then added in a little bit of text at the end in this particular format. Now here I should have put a space so that evens that out a little bit, and it's as simple as that. It's a really powerful function. I use it quite a bit to create text strings for business objects, for example, where you might want a long list of codes, barcodes or SKU codes, or some kind of information that you want to extract out of a database, but requires a single text string to create that SQL code. Then this particular function is something that is used quite a bit by myself in order to create those long text strings out of Excel data. So depending on what your needs are, I would definitely start looking at how the concat functions and concatenate functions work, and start messing around with creating various different text strings. So I hope that you guys found this video useful. If you did, please click on the like button, hit subscribe and tap that bell. It does mean a lot to the channel, and I will catch you guys in the next video.